Welcome to the show. It's Real Talk with The 6thman. I'm your host, The 6thman. This podcast is uncut, unscripted, and we talk about a wide range of topics. Black entrepreneurship, social injustice, education, finances, the family dynamic, Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, and mental health, along with many more. It's a Real Talk podcast to empower, educate, encourage, uplift, and inspire, and to allow others to be better than they were yesterday. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to the show. It's Real Talk with The 6thman. I am your host, The 6thman, and it's February, and I thought it would be a treat to kind of get Valentine's Day kind of started, because February is kind of known for a variety of things, but I think Valentine's Day is one of the things that most couples and people who are in relationships or dating, it tends to be that time of the year for most of the individuals who are dating or in a relationship. And as you all know, I have a Facebook group on Facebook, and we have a lot of people in our group who talk about relationships, ups and downs, turmoil, past history, things of that nature. And I can tell you honestly that when we get to talking about, the man versus woman posts, I mean, they get really enlightening, because there's a lot of people, male and female, who feel the pain of those past relationships and feel like that there's nobody out here capable of really loving them the way they would like to be loved. And I think that that's false, because I have a situation that I'm in right now where I can honestly tell you that I did not see this coming at all. But I'm actually extremely happy that I didn't let my guard down, and I kept, being patient, so that way it could allow itself to manifest again for me. So I have my better half on the line. We're going to talk about our situation. A lot of people don't know, how we met, how it happened. When people may see certain posts or something like that, I get inboxes, phone calls. Hey, Slim, what, you and Short? I'm like, man. So it's just like I tried my best to do something different, meaning that I tried to keep her all to myself, right? And when I say that, I mean try to not have any family or friends involved, meaning, just trying to keep it so that way we can really, really, really get to know each other. And the funny thing about it is we knew each other. We went to the same high school. I was in an upper grade than she was, but, we knew each other, but not fully knew each other. Interacted throughout different neighborhoods, certain things that we, encountered, people that we knew. When we know a lot of the same people. But it was funny to get to know her, and I'm pretty sure, speaking for her, getting to know me, and both of us as adults. Like, we knew the younger us, but now that we're fully grown, it was really enjoyable to get to know her as an adult now, to kind of hear her past and what she's been through, and I'm hoping vice versa as me as well. So, Angel, I kind of want you to give the ladies your like history on like where you felt like you were gonna just take a break, and kind of walk us down that, and then we'll kind of go forward with us, because of course it's going to come intertwine with what we'll be talking about anyway. So just kind of tell the listeners, specifically the ladies, your story on when you were in your last situation and you walked away from it.
Okay, so I was in a long-term relationship that we ended up getting married. And once we got married, I was married, he wasn't. So that didn't work out, and I had to let that go. Um,
Wait, you said you were married but he wasn't. What does that mean?
right. Okay, so he basically had a girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah, and of course I did not know, but she was the one who reached out to me and told me that they had been together for a while, and they actually had a daughter.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
Wait.
So,
So he had a daughter while you and him were married?
yes.
Oh wow.
And when I found out about it, the child was about 6 months. So,
Oh
of
wow.
course, he, after being, his situation being revealed, he still wanted to, I guess, fight for our marriage, which was, I thought was crazy because, I mean, you already have a whole family on the side, and it seems like the way that she explained it that them two were still ongoing.
Mm.
But he, pleaded about you letting her go and, blah, blah, blah. And that was a whole situation because, of course, I'm like, I don't want to be in this toxic marriage. I don't want to do this. I don't. So I decided to, it's best that we go our separate ways. And, well, you know what? Let me stop that. Okay. It did take me a while to get to that point because I felt like um, we are married,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to not just be so quick to throw it away.
Right.
So I did decide to go to counseling and see if we can work this out. But it turned out that it was destroying me, even through the counseling. I could not sleep. I could not function daily. And once the counselor decided that she wanted to put me on psych meds,
Oh wow.
I felt that okay, I have to make a choice, and because this is definitely is now is it is getting to me mentally.
That was her professional. That was her
Yeah,
professional take that you needed psych meds.
yes,
Oh wow.
yes,
Okay.
because I wasn't functioning anymore. Like I I basically had insomnia and um wasn't working well. Just me trying to hold on to that was killing me for the sake of just, you know, staying married. So once she told me that, I was like, okay, I feel like now I'm at a fork in the road. I need to choose me. And I did. So I let that go. We moved, we moved apart for, um, and at that time, my daughter was in the 10th grade. So a couple of years, it was just me and my kids and my mom. And I basically just focused on them and focused on me. Basically getting to know me because we was together for so long that I did not know how to be a me. I was only capable of being a we. Like even down to basically shopping for myself for food. I was so used to shopping for us. I was so used to sleeping beside somebody. I was so used to just functioning as in a partnership that I didn't even know who I was.
Mm.
I did not. I told you I lost myself in that relationship.
Mm.
So it was like back to basics, like starting all over again to learn who I was and to figure out the things that I wanted to do and get and get my personality back. So
I can feel that. I feel that.
yeah, so that took some time of working on myself and then my kids were in high school, so I just I just focused on us three. So, um, after so my sister at that time, she moved down to Florida, and we would go visit every once in a while. So she came up with, I mean, she just suggested the idea of why don't you guys move down here after my youngest, Nadia, graduates. So I was like, you know what? I mean, what do I have here? I don't have nothing here. I don't have no ties here. And that was I was like, okay, so that can work because my son went to the Navy after he graduated, and then my daughter wanted to go to Bethune-Cookman, which is in um, Florida, in Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is only 3 hours away from Fort Lauderdale, which I was going to be moving. So I was like, okay, this kind of like falls into place, and that's what I focused on, was now saving, um, getting ready for this move. And at that time, I was so focused on me and us that I did not date. I did not do anything. And I didn't even think about it at that moment in time because I was just diligent about my plan. So I didn't feel lonely or anything like that because it just wasn't even a thought. So once I moved to Florida, that's when things really started to become more of a relaxed situation because now my kids are gone off into their adult life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now an empty nester, as they call it. My son is in the Navy and my daughter is in college, and it's just me now. So now I don't have nothing else to focus on but me. So moving down here, my daughter, I'm sorry, my sister is in the same situation. She has 2 grown kids that don't live with her anymore. So it became like a party. Like we was gone out every day at the pool, at the beach. Just life became like a total vacation that you just don't go home from. And that was I moved down here at the end of 2018. So 2019 came around very quickly. So that whole 2019, we had a ball. And still, I was not dating. Well, first of all, I didn't know anybody here. So I definitely wasn't even thinking about that. But I was having too much fun enjoying me and getting my life back in track. So I was very happy. I was very content. I had my family. I had my friends. So I decided to, when it came to men or a relationship, I definitely was not going to rush into anything because I've realized that I can do me and I can be happy just by myself. Like I don't like 3 years had went past, no sex, no dating, no talking to anybody. Just did not even have anybody in that capacity at all, and I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. So once I've proven to myself that I don't need to be in a relationship to be happy, I told myself that I will never sacrifice my peace and my happiness ever again for nobody, not even my kids.
And
Because
so, with that being said, kind of get into a little detail in regards to your last relationship and why your mindset was that. I mean, because the listeners kind of want to get an idea of what made you get to that point. I mean, even though we know, the relationship was over, you left, you came to Florida, but what was the mindset in regards to that point you just made?
the mindset was, okay, in my relationship, I given so much of me for somebody else's happiness, and it ended up breaking me down. That once I found peace, it's like once you find peace and happiness, it's like a drug. It becomes addictive, and you just can't. You just don't want to sacrifice it anymore. So that's how my mindset became. I would never sacrifice my peace for anybody because I've chased it and I found it, and I wasn't letting it go ever again.
Mm.
So, and once I found that, and I've proven to myself that happiness and that ultimate peace can come with you just being by yourself and not feeling like you're missing out on anything, I didn't have a reason to sacrifice it again, if
Right.
that makes sense.
No, perfect sense.
Okay. So that's how that mindset became, my mindset, because I've done it for 3 years. So that was proof that I like me. I really like me. And I'm an awesome person. I have a great personality, and for then, kind of like smothered my personality and formed into a person to make somebody else comfortable.
Mm.
So basically, I killed off myself to become whatever that person needed me to be for their comfortability.
Mm. I think a
I
lot of people can agree with that, or can relate to that.
hmm Yeah, a lot of people do that because they feel like, um, well, this is what relationships are all about. You have to change yourself, to for the sake of the relationship. You have to change, and you really don't. You really don't. You can really find somebody who will just really like you for exactly who you are, and if they don't like you for exactly who you are,
That's fine
then
too.
that's not
That's
your person.
that's okay too, though. I mean, that's the thing. I think people need to understand that it's okay if somebody doesn't fully want to. Um, I want to use the word deal with some of the baggage that you may have. I mean, because even though you are being the person who you are, we all come with baggage. So
Hmm
when that baggage starts to come out, the person who both parties have a both parties have a responsibility to themselves to say, am I going to deal with this or am I not going to deal with this? And if one person decides that they don't, I don't think that it's an issue. But I think some people chase the point of, if the other person doesn't want them for whatever reason, like you just said, then now you starting to conform yourself to that person to make that person feel like, okay, no, I'm going to be this for you. And I mean, you, like you just mentioned, you do not have to do. I mean, even though we on the outside looking into that situation now, but being in that situation, I fully understand that, because in my situation, I mean, I felt like I wasn't Kevin anymore. I was somebody else. And I mean, it took a couple homies just to ask me certain questions, and then made me start thinking about myself. Like, what am I really doing? So I really felt that point that you just mentioned.
I told when I was by myself, I gave myself a saying, and that I can always revert back to. And I said to myself one day, "You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay."
Mm-hmm.
Which means if you are dating somebody, or you are starting to talk to somebody, and they feel like maybe you're too much, you're too loud, or you're too, um, you know,
Oh, you mean when you drink Tito?
yeah, exactly. Sometimes somebody be like, okay, you're too much, you're too this, you're
Yeah,
too that. Can you calm it down? Can you do that?
yeah.
You know what? No, I can't. I'm not your cup of tea, and that's okay. Let's just go our separate ways, because I don't want to conform anymore. I don't want to be whatever it is that you need me to be. I want to be me,
Right.
and that's fine. I can go back to being by myself like that, like without no problem, because I've already proven to myself that I can be happy
Mm.
without anybody.
So let's talk about just 3 years though, because I know we've had a conversation numerous times about, certain posts that we may see, and and you just brought up something, I think it was yesterday, in regards to women not necessarily having to, be so provocative on Facebook to get attention, or so to, or whatever that leads into. And I know that normally, when a woman may, leave a situation, they tend to feel like they need to be with somebody else right away, and not necessarily in a full-fledged relationship, but just having that companionship. So what did that look like with you for 3 years? I mean, because that's not something that just happens. I mean, maybe the first year went by kind of fast, but then the next two is like, that had to been a mindset or something that you got used to. So how did you get used to just not, having that type of intimacy with anybody anymore?
Um, I got myself busy, and when I say that, is that I I had a life, so I got close with my friends, and me and my friends, we would go out, do stuff together, you know, have a lot of fun together, like go over each other's house. At nighttime, at the first year was the hardest, because at night you go home, you want to, some companionship at home. But after a while, you just that even goes away. It really do go away. Like, it's like when you coming off of a drug and you go through that withdrawal period, your body, get those shakes and all that type of stuff. But once you absolutely don't indulge at all, it absolutely goes away. Like those urges, for me, I don't know about for anybody else. I can only speak for me. They actually went away. I'll go home peacefully and sleep peacefully and wake up the next day and go about my day. So I basically just, I guess you could say, just kept myself busy. Because, if I wasn't working, I was doing something with the kids. And kids in high school, that's a job in itself, because they have their extracurricular activities, and they need to be, you know, chauffeured, driven this place, driven that place, especially when it comes to the senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed busy, and this did not really even think about it, and I was happy. I was really happy with my family and my friends. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything.
Mm.
So that's how that in 1 year turned into two turned into three, and then when I moved down to Florida, I didn't know anybody,
Mm-hmm.
and um, so that even became even more easier to not even think about anything, because now I don't have. I'm just trying to learn the streets and trying to figure out, like, it's a whole new playground. Now I'm
Just
trying
getting
to figure out.
acclimated. Yeah, you just getting
Yeah,
acclimated. Yeah.
exactly. So that became a whole other task, and so it just wasn't a thing. Nothing that I really thought about. It just naturally happened that way.
And I mean,
So
and if something, you know, would you change that? Like, what happened? Like, do you think now, after kind of being in the space that you are now today, right now, do you think that you would have changed anything and did anything differently?
not at all. I wouldn't have done nothing different. Nothing. Not at all.
Oh, okay.
I
Cause
needed that time, because that time taught me exactly who I was, and it gave me some time to say, okay, for the next time, um, when it comes back, because I don't want to be, I didn't make a decision of, I don't want to be with anybody. I made a decision of, it has to happen genuinely,
mm,
it has to happen naturally, and they have to know me from the inside out,
mm,
and they have to like me. So I was not going to waste my time with trying to be anything.
mm.
It had to just naturally just fall into the pieces by itself.
And it's like it's almost like you got lucky because you didn't really have to play the dating game. You could
Right.
just live your life day to day and just not even have to worry about that
You get
anxiety of getting to know somebody else. So that's
right. And I think that relocating really, really helped that situation a lot, because, you know, the guys who were trying to talk to me, they all lived up there. So nobody was giving my attention that much to say, for me to be like, I'll okay, because in my mind, like, it was impossible. Like, why would I even try to, you know, open up to having the possibility of a long distance relationship?
you're right.
So,
After going through what you've been through, I agree with that.
right, exactly. Why would I even go through all of that of trying to have a long distance relationship, and nobody is catching my eye that much?
Not even the dudes in Florida. No dude. No, I mean nobody in
No.
Florida.
Oh my God, these dudes in Florida, they terrible.
Oh,
Like, their hair be like, it's the style for their hair to be matted, and then they got gold teeth and gold everywhere, and everybody just look like they like a dust mop. They just, I have not seen anybody who actually caught my
dust
eye.
mop. God damn it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they don't have that DC swag down here. They got that that grunge look. That's their thing
So
down here.
so so
So it
so
wasn't.
so the DC swag, meaning the area, Prince George's
Yeah.
County, DC. That it's a real swag. That I mean, that's something
It,
that
it,
really is attractive. I mean, you can be attracted to that.
yeah. Yeah. It's a
Um,
whole swag. Is look. I guess I'm a Southeast girl, and a Southeast girl needs a Southeast dude or something. Cause I swear it
mm,
just was not happening for me down here. Nobody could catch my eye, not once.
mm,
I just have not seen it.
wow.
So I didn't. So again, but I wasn't sweating it because I was happy. I was content.
Right.
I was fine.
Right.
So it wasn't like I was even really thinking about it. Look, my life was fun. I had a lot of fun, and I'm just like, when it happens, it's gonna happen organically.
Right.
I knew exactly what I wanted because I had time to think about it.
Yeah. Sounds like you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think that you know, I don't know. I mean, I just think people feel like, they've been hurt, they've been in, different situations, and I'm not sure what everybody's mindset is when they go through that, because everybody deals with that type of, um, I want to say not resentment, but just whatever that feeling is, they deal with it however they feel. I mean, some people go and jump right back into it and date and jump right back into being intimate. Some people, like you said, you took a break, you didn't do anything. Some people may change and switch sides. Maybe once you was dealing with a female, I mean a male, now you dealing with a female. So it's just people deal with it all different types of ways, and for me it's no judgment for me at all, because I've been through it. So I know that for me, it was life changing for me, because when I when I made the decision that I wanted to be married, it wasn't one of them situations where I felt like in my mind I was still gonna play games. Like I didn't get married to get a divorce. That's not why I got married. That's not why I said I do. And then a lot of times there's a lot of people on the outside looking in that always, you ain't know she was like that before you got married. You ain't know this, and it's just like you see somebody, and it's so easy for somebody to always speculate on your situation versus talking about or remembering what they've been through with somebody. And I mean, I feel like even just as us being you know people, like, versus always, you should have knew this, you should have saw that. Why can't you go back into your memory and remember when you didn't see it, and remember when you needed help? Because I feel like sometimes that makes people not even want to talk about their situation to certain people, because you automatically, well, why you ain't see this and you ain't see that and you ain't see this. And I mean, even when I used to kind of try to talk about it, that part would make me mad, because it was almost like you fucking perfect, you got it all, you got it all together, you saw each situation with your partner, you knew this was gonna happen. No, that doesn't work that way. And my mindset was, I know we different. I know we grew up different. I know, our backgrounds is different. I mean, first and foremost, she had both of her parents growing up in the same house. I never had that. So that made us different in a nutshell. All because they had a tight knit family. I mean, we got a tight knit family, but they did more activities than we did, just because of that simple fact of both parents not being in the house or whatever. But
Mhm.
I mean, I could just remember certain things that we were different, and I was like, I knew it would be, a challenge, but not necessarily something where I'm gonna say, no, I'm just gonna dump her and leave her, because shit, I got baggage too. I mean, she's starting to learn me, and she probably looking at me like, dang, this nigga really rough around the edges for real. But she can see that I'm respectful. She can see that I care about my family. She can see my friendship with my friends. She can see that I'm dependable. I'm hard working. I'm not just gonna sit on my ass and just do nothing. I mean, I might not be as educated as the next man, but I'm gonna get up and do my thing. And I mean, I think she saw that as well. So I just felt like, once we got married, I mean, because it was some years before we got married. I mean, I think we were together for at least, 4 or 5 years before we got married. And so after we got married, it just seemed like a lot of the stuff that we would do that was fun wasn't fun anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we would go to the bar, we would go get drinks after work or whatever, and then it just seemed like, I'm your wife now. Why you acting like that? Why you doing? It's like, wait, what? And so now I'm like, now I'm in that state of mind where now, okay, now I can't do this. Why not? Oh, I can't do that. Why not? Like, that's me. That's who I am. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, even the part with, drinking and just, me being myself. Man, calm down. Why don't you chill out? What are you talking about? I'm just being myself. Like, so
Right.
it got to the point when it got to that point and then it started just getting really ugly. It was just like, I can't do it. And I think one of the biggest things for me now is respect. That's like one of the, I mean, communication is all well and good. I know you got to have that. But for me, respect is everything for me now. I mean, because I got so disrespected in that situation, it got to the point where nobody else is ever going to treat me that way. I mean, even when I used to talk to people about, some of the stuff that I've gone through, even with Miss K. Ron, me and Miss K. Ron talk, kind of towards the end of our marriage, and she would just be like, "Wow," like, and she's a Christian woman, and she would be
Mhm.
like, "Wow," like, is she really saying that to you? I'm like, yeah. So it's not like it was just overnight, but over time, And I remember a counselor went to counseling, and I was telling the counselor kind of some of the ins and outs of what was going on. And the counselor was like, Kevin, you don't strike me as an individual that just allow anybody or somebody to just talk to them any type of way. She was like, so I need you to understand that you played a part in your feelings right now. I was like, what you mean? And I'm still upset. I was like, what you mean? She was like, because even though you have a valid point of not wanting to go back and forth with her, not wanting to argue with her, not wanting to have these intense fellowships, you allowed it to happen so much. She got so comfortable that when she disrespected you, it was easy for her to do it
Mm.
because you wouldn't step in and say anything. And it made me go, whoa, wait a minute. And it took me like a month to really understand what she was saying. And it was like once I understood, I could understand, how my friends are looking at me now, how my boys are looking at me now, how my family, like, what the fuck? Like, you letting this chick talk to you? What the fuck? That ain't you, Slim. And
Mhm.
then I'm going back and forth. I don't do that. I don't go back and forth with women. I've never done that. If anything, not to be disrespectful, but anything, I'll be like, bitch, and just step off and go on to the next thing. I've never, but I understood that I made a commitment to myself to be faithful to, whatever challenges came, try to, you know, deal with them head on. And it was a lot. I mean, when you're married and you're in your mind, you fully want to be faithful. It is a challenge from the door because you want to try to do everything right, even though everything's not going to go right. But you fully meet who you with through challenges. Not through the
Mhm.
good times, not through the laughing and the sex and all of that. You meet who you are with during challenging times.
Mhm.
And if that person is not the person for you in challenging times, you gotta go. Because
Right.
at that point, everything else is gonna go stage left. Everything. Police being called, domestic violence, everything. So
Right.
you gotta make a choice, man. But we're gonna take a quick break. I'm glad that you share some of that because I think women need to know that it's okay, to be by yourself. And I'm not saying that, women, you know, don't make the decision to take a break. I mean, because even for me, when I got divorced, I think I took, I want to say maybe 2 years off from dating, just being with anybody. And like you said, being busy, going to work, on my grind. I mean, and in the time that we've known each other, you be like, Joe, you be really getting it in. I'll be because
Mhm.
I just don't want to be idle. Because if I'm idle, I know my mind can kind of wander sometimes, and then I can make myself. I can even alter my own atmosphere just thinking too much. You know what I mean? So I wanted to keep busy. I wanted to keep it moving, even in the rough times with, me dealing with everything. I just wanted to keep it moving. I mean, Tony, man, Hood, they would call me, hey, Slim, we about to go, man. You trying to roll? No, I ain't doing nothing. Man, come on, man. Come out the house, And it got to the point where I didn't want to come out. Not that I didn't want to come out the house, but I just knew coming out the house, I knew what that meant. And I knew that, I wasn't ready to be in that type of environment just yet. Because I did go out once and a young lady sat down and we, kind of chatted for a second and she said something. I just looked at her. I was like, man, let me get the fuck away from her. And I just got up and went to the other end of the bar. And that's how I knew right then and there that I was not ready to be in nobody's relationship. Because I still got all of this fuel and this fire in me. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
after going to counseling, it just helped me realize that I was better than I thought I was.
Right. Right.
Meaning that I knew I could get through everything that I was going through.
Exactly. And well, that's one thing that I think that's like the most important lesson is that proving to yourself that you can get through something, because then you can always say, I don't have to do this, or I don't have to put myself in this situation, because I already know that I'm going to be okay without a situation,
Right,
without a relationship, or without being in, with somebody.
right,
Once you have that proof, it's almost like it's a power.
right,
It's a power, because now you get to um have the relationship that you want, not something that you just gonna just deal with or accept.
right,
You get to be choosy, because you know that I will be fine with or without you.
right,
And a lot of times, and I think the most important thing is to be realistic, because it's not easy at first. It's like I said, it's like you're trying to wean yourself off of a drug. When you're so used to doing something for so many years, and then now you're trying to not do it that way anymore, especially with sex, or just sleeping with somebody, or having somebody just to be around, because on those boring times where you're just sitting on the couch,
mm-hmm,
you wishing that you had somebody to pick up the phone to and call or whatever. Because
mm-hmm.
then, if you get desperate for that, then you will start to make those sacrifices just to have just that. So you really have to be diligent in your decision to be you know be by yourself for a while, and
Right,
then it will get easy.
right,
Then you will stop looking for that companionship, or you'll replace it with something else, like something healthy, like exercise,
right,
or taking a class,
right,
or you know doing something with your kids,
right.
or you know what I mean, or starting a business, or doing something else that's gonna benefit you and you alone.
I think my energy was just Gianna. I think that's just where my focus was. Just trying to
Yeah,
put myself in a position where I could be the best dad for her, and then everything
exactly.
else was second. So it was like
It's,
that was kind of my focus. But we're gonna take a break. We're gonna get into the second half. I think everybody will enjoy the second half because it's kind of not saying out the blue, but it's kind of funny how everything kind of fell into place. So we're gonna take a quick break, y'all. We'll be right back. Finding out, how it went down. And again, I think that, for a lot of people, COVID-19 has been one of these, gift and curse type situations because I think honestly for us, COVID, if it wasn't for COVID, we probably wouldn't have been where we are today, to a degree, I think, um, in terms of the way we communicate on a day in and day out basis. But um, I think that people look at COVID and they talk about dating and having to do these virtual dates and all of that stuff, and we never did that. But I mean, for the most part, we kind of communicated on a regular basis. But kind of going to this moment when now first of all, I didn't even know. Well, not saying I didn't know, but I wasn't aware that you had already been following on Facebook as long as you have, because when I talk
mhm.
about some of my old lives, people be like, "Man, I remember when you was at your job, man. Y'all used to have fun as shit." I used to be like, "Man, I wish I could work there." I was like, "Damn, yeah, we did have some good times." And so I can remember some of our conversations when you were actually watching some of the lives, and I was like, "Damn, you was watching them?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay, bet." So kind of walk people through how we kind of even got reacquainted, if that's the right term I can use.
Yeah, I think that's the right term. Okay, so like you said, I have been following, you and your platform for some time now. Um, and one day I was sitting at the pool with a girlfriend who was coming. She was down here having a visit, and I had you were I'm not sure if you were live or if I was just. I think you were live. I think that yeah, you went live, and I was watching. So she looked over and she was like, "Who was that?" And I said, "Oh, it's a friend of mine. Went to high school. He has his own podcast, and I follow his platform, 6thman, RealTalk, 6thman." She was like, "He is fine." I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, you agreed?
Yeah. I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, okay.
She was like, "Do you know him?" I said, "Yeah, we went to high school together." She was like, "Is he single?" I said, I really don't know." I said, "It looks like he's single because he doesn't say anything. He doesn't, talk about being in a relationship. But I don't know. I can reach out and ask." She was like, "Okay, yeah, do that." So I said, "Okay." So later on that night, I was at work and I Facebook messaged you and told you about the young lady who was interested because, of course, she lived up there. So, um, and I asked you if you were single. You said yes, and you told me to give her your Facebook information. I said okay, and I said the only reason why I am even willing to do this introduction is because I don't live there anymore. Because I always had a crush on you since the 10th grade.
Mm, mm.
And you say, "Oh, don't give her my information there."
Nah, yeah, don't no, don't even do that. I mean, let's start talking about this right here. Let's start talking about that.
Right, right. So then after that, we just continued to like have conversations in Messenger.
Yeah.
Not like over the phone, but like typing, um, little stuff. Hey, hi, how you doing, and what's going on, and just like those little icebreaker conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I just remember saying, okay, I feel like one of those Facebook creeps that keep on creeping into somebody's inbox.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my number. And then that's pretty much how we started talking.
Mm.
It started off very slow. I do remember that. Like we would talk one day and just then talk for like a couple of days and talk, it wasn't like that consistent, but then it became more consistent because I worked that night.
Right.
So, right. So we got into some, and my job was so quiet that I had the time to be on the phone and we just got into like different topics and subjects and just like really got into some really good conversations, and that's how we started to learn that we were really like-minded people, and then our stories were so familiar, like so similar.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like we came from like almost we was coming from like the same past. So and been through like, and it's always so funny is that it was the same exact timeline as well.
Right. You
Like
you you
you
leaving him, me leaving her. Yeah.
like you separated the same year I separated. We been the relationship was the same length, like the ten that we've been with our exes, and what we learned from those relationships, and then coming out of it, and you wasn't messing with nobody for a couple of years, and I wasn't messing. So we had that in common. So I thought that was super dope that we could talk about that and then discuss what we've learned and what we wanted moving forward. And it was so comforting to hear that we was on like the same page and just what we've been through and where we wanted to go.
Yeah. It
So
it was definitely something special. Like people would hear it and be like, "That's it. That's how this happened." Yeah, pretty much. Because it wasn't it was no expectation. It was just
right,
us just
exactly.
talking. Like I remember vividly, like right around my birthday, It was just like, um, it was basic conversations. It wasn't like real heavy. Like it was just basic. And then, like you say, we would get into these conversations because I think based off what we've been through, we just was kind of sharing automatically, not like having to ask, but just kind of sharing what we've been through. And I think I learned that. Well, I think I learned being like that through counseling because I'm just gonna say her name. Her name is Crystal. She was saying that you know you have to learn how to get back to just being yourself, so people can see the authentic you. And so when I go online, or if I'm on live, or if I'm doing anything I'm doing on my platform, the first thing that I hear is authenticity. And then I kind of re go back into history and be like, in this situation I wasn't my authentic self 100%. And I used to think like, well, if I was if I was my authentic self 100%, what would that look like? And so now, fast forward, I'm like, I'm 100% my authentic self, and look what I'm in now. So it taught me that I have to be exactly who I am in order for the person to love me for who I am, right? So it just taught me to just be myself, pretty much. And so
It's so funny is that I was on the same page because, like I said, I conformed so much for my last relationship that I was determined to give you everything 100% me so that you can decide whether you could accept that or not, because I was not going to. I made a decision a long time ago that I was not going to allow myself to conform to make somebody else comfortable. And so we both came to the table being our authentic selves. And I wasn't even really looking for an approval. It's just that it was, you were comfortable. You know what I mean?
but
Just
if you
talking to
but if you
me.
think about it but if you think about it, we didn't even have to worry about that because it was just casual conversation. It wasn't anything too deep.
Right.
It was never, oh, you gonna be my boo, or yeah, it was just
It was,
always a
yeah, it was
casual conversation.
safe.
It wasn't never no, I don't feel like it was ever any pressure. I don't feel like I ever had to say anything specifically to make you feel a certain type of way. I think it was just genuinely casual conversation between two adults about their their current present position in life, and how they got there. And then it just it just got heavy. I mean, because I don't think, I mean, January was around the initial time, and I don't think you came here until July.
Yeah, it was
So
July.
you figure 6 months of you know
Nothing
just
station.
communication, just kind of learning each other, from an adult standpoint. No sex. I didn't want to say intimacy because I felt like in the months coming to us knowing that we were going to see each other, our conversations got really intimate, meaning that they got
Mhm.
really personal.
Mhm.
And so by
Mhm.
the time you came here in July, and then we visited with each other, and then you went back home. I mean, I didn't say anything, but I knew then that you were it for me. I knew then. After that, I mean, even though it was a awkward type of first time interaction, but even after that, I mean, even after the awkwardness was gone, it was just always gone. It was just gone. And
Right.
then it was just like, it wasn't pressure. It was like, hey, you hungry? You want something to eat? Yeah, let's order something to eat. I mean, it was just, I don't know. I still can't explain it, but it wasn't any pressure. It was just
It was
casual.
organic.
Yeah,
And
organic would be a good word instead of saying casual. Organic would be a good word.
yeah, because I do remember us having a conversation about what we both wanted, and we both said it have to happen organically. It have to happen naturally. I don't want it have to. We pretty much have to fall in it without trying for it.
To
Without,
happen. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
and I
And
think for the most part, that's what happened.
yeah, and that's exactly.
I mean,
Well,
the the
so
the ins and outs of stuff that we had to do to see each other. I mean, we're not gonna get into the details, but I mean, just the ins and outs of things that we had to do because you were in Florida and because I was here. I mean, the old saying, "Actions speak louder than words," is a perfect foundation for us because the effort that we put into to spend time with each other was enough for me to know that this is real. Like this is really real. Like we're catching planes, we're driving, up highway. I mean, we doing. I'm like, man, what? Okay. And so, of course, I had my fear of, not fear, but I had my lack of understanding of long distance relationships. And it was just like I would hear stories and be like, nah, I don't know if I want to do that. Because I heard some horror stories. But then I do know of a few, maybe like three, where people did it and it was actually good. So I know towards the first time we had our first interaction, I started reaching out to those people that I knew and start asking them, how did that work? What did y'all do? And some of the stuff that they told me was exactly what was going on. Not that we had to force it, but it was just stuff that just naturally happened. Like, hey, we coming up this weekend. You got time? Let me see what I could do. I might have you on. I mean, whatever we needed to do, we did it to see each other. And I just was like, wow, like that's crazy. So fast forward, COVID, it was just like we talked about it. We was like, we gonna wear our masks. We gonna go to we gonna go to the room. I'm gonna wipe that shit down before you get there. I mean, we talked about everything. I mean, and did everything together. So it was like a team effort the whole time. But I guess the most important part for me was the not being physically sexual part. It was like, wow, like I'm literally digging this person and not even had sex with them. I mean, not even gotten physical with this person at all. Not kissed them, not smelt them, not. I mean, I'm like this. I'm like, wow, this is okay. Just off of, seeing your text in the morning, good morning. It's basic. It's just good morning. But when I look at the text, I'm like, damn, she in Florida texting me good morning. That's tough to me. To me. I mean, even though I know that's what people do, but just knowing that you're all the way there and you thinking about me, I'm like, wow, that's okay. And then I think that the consistency of us both just reaching out to each other again, that effort, it was flawless. It's just we've just done it. And then I think one of the funniest things that happened thus far, outside of you initially reaching out to me for a girlfriend, I remember I said this to a homie, and I told him kind of how we met, and he was like, that's tough. That's a great quality that she had. She was willing to take one for the team, even though she liked you, and seek out information for another friend. I was like, my man was like, that's tough, Slim. That's a tough trait. I mean, that don't come, that don't come easy. I was like, I guess if you think about it that way, you might got a point. So it was just like, you know,
that was very unselfish.
right, unselfish, right, right. But then, we get into this conversation about, you having a crush on me, and
Hmm.
then me remembering me seeing you, and then some of our interactions. I mean, I didn't mean to zip tie your hands together that one time, but it just and even outside of that, I mean, you had a cousin, that I used to take care of, right? And
Yeah.
so we interacted with each other. I mean, we saw each other, we knew each other, but it wasn't never to this
Right.
degree. So
Right. We
it
could like hang out and all that stuff, but we was like, yeah, we lived in the same neighborhood and
knew the same
we,
people, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So I mean, for me, it just I don't know. It just like I say, it the effort was flawless, and it just seemed like it just flowed. And then after July, it just went left because we just was like went crazy. And I remember coming to the house, and I left. I came home, and you was like, I went to my executive branch for them to help me make a decision. I was like, what? I was like, what did that mean? But when you broke it down, I understood what you were saying. So I kind of want you to break that down for the listeners when you mention your executive group making a decision.
Okay, so remember earlier in this conversation, you said something. You said once you are in it, you don't see things anymore.
Right.
So that's what I knew from the past. That was one of the lessons that I've known from the past, is that once you start, dealing with somebody and y'all become, y'all start having y'all little thing, you stop seeing the red flags. You stop seeing things that, that you that you would see if you were standing on the outside looking in.
Correct.
So for me, I said, the next time I start talking to somebody and I start to feel like I like them, I'm going to bring them around my family, because we're a close-knit family, and you know that.
Yes, y'all.
And I'm going to see if they like you, because I like you, but, I'm googly-eyed at this time. So it might be some things that I had already that I'm just not going to see. So I know that I put the stamp on it, but it ain't going to go forward unless they put the stamp on it.
Right.
So you came down, and we had a weekend with all of my family. Even my brother was there.
Mm-hmm.
And you already knew my brother from, the past anyway, because y'all played. So, but no, everybody else didn't know you. So
right.
I said, and one thing I wanted the most was the opinion of the kids. And the kids are always going to be 100. Because sometimes the adults might not say too much because they're trying to be politically correct or trying to be nice.
And when you say kids, you mean
my nieces?
Okay.
Like they're not kids,
right?
But
right.
They kids to me.
Right. Just perspective for the listeners. Just trying to get them to understand.
Okay. Yeah. So they're like 19. In that 19, 18, 20 range, where they want to, these kids just in this time, they 100. They keep it 1,000 with you.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah.
So after you left, I was like, okay, y'all, what y'all think? And everybody was like, oh yeah, man, we like him. He fit right in with us. When they said that, I knew that this relationship was going to be important to me, because I built myself around my family. That's how, like, we call ourselves the Ant family, because we're like a village. We are very close knit.
Mm-hmm.
And with my ex, he was not a part of that. He stayed on the outskirts, and then he made me do the same. So there was a bridge.
That's what he wanted, though.
Yeah, it was a separation with my family with him.
Right.
He separated himself. Well, he never really was around, like only like a few times. But then he started to make me separate from them, which was another little bit of something that he took away from me.
Right.
So with the next time I said that the next person have to fit in with my family, because I get a lot of my happiness from my family. It's a big part of who I am. So once you came and you just fit right in, I was like, oh yeah, yes. That really put the stamp on it.
But it's still. I mean, I think again, it still took some time. I mean, you don't meet a person once and be like, oh yeah, he it. You still gotta, get a little bit more time with that person. And so that's why I say the consistency of either you being here or me being there, and now most recently, me being there. I mean, because even me and Glenn, we had a conversation, and it allowed me to understand that, even though we haven't known each other 10, 20 years, just based off the relationship you and him have, he was like, Slim, whatever you need help with, you got support here if you coming. I was like, all right, bet. So again, I feel like the more you consistent, the more people around you, the more they get to know you. I mean, cause I think each time I've come down, and your sister been like, "Oh, all right." I'll be like, "What that mean?" She be like, "You just the same." I was like, "Oh, okay." Cause cause again, sometimes you looking to see if the person gonna switch up.
Yeah.
You looking to see if he gonna give you something different, and it's just like, if I'm in the living room and she come out, she like, "Hey, what's up?" She was like, "Is that a drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, I made it a little early." Oh, you ain't gonna drink by yourself? Let me go get one. I'm like, "Oh
Right.
shit, I done
Well,
started something."
let me tell you something. The last time you was here, which was last week, was it last week or week before last?
I want to say it was
I think it was you left last Sunday.
right last Sunday. Yeah.
Here, Coach, she came to me and said after some deep thought and something she said after some deep thought and some deliberations or something. It was some way
Deliberation.
it was something the way that she put it. Basically, she just now saying that I really like him and he is it for me. He gets my vote. So
Cause she was really cautious with me at first.
yes,
I,
she
and, I,
was.
and I accepted that. I mean I caught it. I felt it, but I accepted it though. But I've recently, like you just said, in this time, kind of just being down there a lot, I can feel. I felt her getting more comfortable with me. So that was. I thought that was a good thing as well.
I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Like at first, she will say her, "Hey,
Yeah.
what's up?"
Yeah.
Keep it.
Keep it moving. Yeah.
But this time, she really
She was interactive with me. She spoke to me. We talked about some stuff. Yeah. It was. It was.
put you in
Yeah.
and really yeah, I saw the difference
Yeah.
the last time that you was here. So while y'all was outside and I was in the kitchen doing something, she came up to me and was like, "Okay, after some time of observing and thinking, yeah, it's a yes for me."
Your extended executive branch.
Exactly.
Yeah, the extended part.
Yep. So
And then I think around in August, we kind of, I mean August, October, we kind of was talking, and then in my mind, I was just like, It's no need to, it's no need to, I mean, you say you sold January, so January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So you figure 9 months go by, and it's just us every day. I was just like, look, it ain't no need. We might as well just go ahead and lock this in officially. And I mean, we already knew where we stood together, but let's make it a date. Let's make it official. Let's make that month. Okay, this is the month that we said, all right, bet we're gonna really do this. And so, starting the group and all of that, it was just, I would get these inboxes. Hey, Slim, you mess with somebody in the group? Nah. Oh, all right. Hey, Slim, is you ain't mess with nobody in the group? Nah, I ain't. Nah. Oh, all right. I was getting it like once a week, Joe. I was getting it like once a week. And then, of course, when I decided to come down, me actually coming down, and I guess I took a couple pictures or whatever when we went to Fort Lauderdale Beach when we was at the W Hotel. So I think you took a picture of the same area. I took a picture of the same area, and I was like, man, I can get used to this. And then somebody inboxed you and was like, where you live at?
yeah.
And so at that point, it was like, okay, I'm not saying obvious, but if it's obvious to one, then it's obvious to some, right? So it's like, all right, let's just still, do what we do. And then we met up with a couple of group members, also, friends of mine that you recently got acquainted with. Took another picture, while we were at dinner. I got a couple inboxes then. Then, went out to we went out to dinner to Blackwall Hitch for Chrissy's. I think was that her birthday.
No, we were just going
Just
out
oh, okay, just going out there. Okay, so then we took that picture, and then I got another couple more inboxes. I was like, oh man, okay. And so for me, it was just like people who know me, especially my circle. You know what I'm saying? Ashley, um, I think Ashley's, I ain't gonna say breakout, but you know, you Ashley and them came up after their wedding, as they prepared for their honeymoon, and you know, of course, you know, you live in Florida, so you know how to get stuff for us. So when I think she was either about to leave, or I think you had just went home from being at the house today, the Airbnb. She
Mhm.
texted me. She was like, "Yep." I was like, "Yep." She was like, "Angel." I was like, "Oh, yep." She was like, "Yep. Good job." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So I mean, and you know, me and her, we got our own relationship, how we communicate and all that. But it felt good to know, cause not saying on purpose, but I purposely, not on purpose. I think COVID was just set up that way where it felt like it was on purpose. But I think in my mind as well, it was better that way for me to be able to have you somewhat all to myself before I allowed you to start meeting my peoples. Because even though the first time you went over Tony Man's house, you know, when you left, he was like, "Yeah, that's you, Slim." I mean, the first time you came over there and you wasn't even there that long, he was like, "Yeah, that's you, Slim." The first time Hood got to interact with you when we went to Shavonda's mother's house to pick up that heavy ass furniture, and you failed. Man, we was so drunk. I didn't even know we was that drunk. But even in that moment, and having to stop every 2 minutes because you and Hood had to pee, that shit was blowing me. But you know, when I got home the next day, because me and you know, still at the room, Hood was like, "Man, you know, I'm a vibe person. You know, I gotta like that vibe." I was like, "Yo, I'm hip." He was like, "I like her vibe for you, Slim. It's a great balance." I said, "Oh yeah." So it just seemed like you know, without me even deliberating and like setting up an executive branch, I already have one, and they already looking out. You know, because they know what I've been through. They know the trauma I've been through, and they know where I am now, and they know where I'm trying to go with it, with everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to get confirmation from them, people that I you know, that I respect, that I love, that you know, I consider family. You know, it felt good. And then even when I came home recently and was telling my mother about my future plans, she was like, "You ain't had to tell me that." I said, "Why?" She was like, "We already knew you was leaving." I said, "Oh yeah." She was like, "You damn near every what? I mean, every time we look up, you get in your truck. Where you going?" "I'm going to Florida." "Oh,
Yeah.
all right."
So that I don't know if you noticed this, but it used to be like once every other month, and then it turned into once a month to every 2 weeks.
Yeah, to
I'm
like all the time.
here,
Yeah,
and or you're here. So these like gaps are closing in. You know, smaller and smaller. Like now you are a part of like Florida almost better than me now. The streets and how to
I
get
mean, yeah.
around.
I mean, you
You
know.
already got your favorite places to eat and everything.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of dope though, because it did everything felt very very much naturally.
Right.
It just keeps on growing on its own. Like
So,
we're
so talk about that though. Talk about. I mean, tell the ladies. You know, because I'm an advocate, right? I want everybody to find that person because I think everybody deserves that. I mean, marriage isn't a bad thing. I mean, I just want to put that out there. Marriage isn't like the worst thing ever, but it has to be collectively a great team effort. And that's why, you know, when initially I spoke to you about Miss K. Ron, she said that she said she had anticipating my phone call because she's very like her discernment is unreal. Like her gift for discernment is out is I mean it's crazy. And she was saying that she had been waiting for my phone call for this particular type of conversation. And she was saying that the way I was talking, my voice, what I was saying, the happiness in my, she was like, "I can't wait to meet her." And then I decided to let you guys kind of talk on the phone.
hmm
And then it was like You created your own relationship with her. she put you on. She put you in the classroom off the break, and I knew that. I knew she was gonna do that. I mean, I thought that was funny, but then it was like you accepted it though, and I was like, oh, that's saying a lot right there, right? And so just based off of her discernment, she was like, I asked her. She was like, well, what do you? She said, so she's in Florida, you here, you got Gianna. We know that's gonna be we know that's gonna be a challenge in itself. But what do you want to do? I was like, I said I'm okay with a change of scenery. She was like, nope, just go. I was like, just go. She was like, don't think about it no more. I can hear it in your voice that you thinking about it and something's stopping you. And I already know what's stopping you. It's Gianna. She was like, just go. She was like, Gianna gonna be fine. You and her gonna be fine. You're a great father. You're gonna do everything in your power to make sure you stay connected with her regardless. She was like, Florida will be a great new environment for her to see, still living, in this area, but being able to come to spend time with her dad, where her dad knows what stuff is, fun stuff to do. She was like, it'll be great, Cameron. It's gonna be great. She said, but the most important part is you have to go down there and mix well with her family. She said, because if you don't, it's not gonna work. I was like, for real? She was like, you gotta mix well with her family. She said, because she loves her family. And if something happens, she's choosing them over you first. I mean, she's gonna choose them first off the break over you. If something, bad was to happen. So she was like, you gotta go down there and you gotta mix well with the family. So in order for you to do that, what do you gotta do? I said, yeah, I guess you're right. And so I guess, just being there, it feels right. It doesn't feel like even to come down there this last time and to get up and go to work the next day, it's like, wait, niggas was hitting me like, wait a minute, you in Florida, right? Yeah. Hey, you at work? I'm like, yeah. Niggas like, oh yeah, you think you slick, nigga, you setting up. So it's been I've had confirmation the whole way. You know what I mean? I've had, even though my heart is leading me one way, it's like confirmation of my heart's decision, or my heart's what's desire, so to speak, is leading me that way. I mean, everybody that I've spoken to, Hood, T-Man, my mother, Miss K. Ron. Not that I haven't spoken to everybody about it, but just so happened mentioned it, and it's just like, Slim, what you gonna miss here? Just kind of not what you went through, because Gianna's still 7, but it's a 2-hour flight, and
Yes.
and anybody can pick her up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mother can bring her down. I can come and get her. You can come and pick her up. I mean, it's not like it's gonna fall by the wayside. So for me, it just solidified my decision even more. But I just didn't know when I was gonna pull the trigger. And then it was like, you know how I'm set up, and it's like I don't want to come somewhere and be looking for a job. I want to already be working. So for me to go to the powers that be when I'm contracting and ask them, do they have something in Florida? And he was like, oh yeah, we got something in Florida. I was like, what? Yeah. Let me call him for you. Wait, what? Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. Call me the next day. Yeah, we got a guy. His name is Anthony. He'd love to have you. Here's his information. Download this app. Here go your username and password. When you get there, just call him. What?
Yeah.
So
So happens so easily.
it it
It,
it's I mean,
it's unreal. Like, and
I'm not
that's
even. I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah, and then the way you set up the birthday thing. I mean, Mastros, that was sexy. I mean, and if we talk about it, like, so do you remember when we got out? The dude was like, yeah, just pull your truck up right here, and we'll let y'all out right here. You remember that?
hmm
And then when we left out after dinner, what happened? People was running
Oh,
their
you
mouth. He was trying. What'd he do? Back the truck up right in the front again. Here, you man, come on here. I was like, dang, it must be because it's my birthday.
they didn't know that.
But I'm gonna just say this, because I don't think I don't know, but I've seen that happen before. So it was like deja vu for me, because I always said I wanted a pickup truck. I always said I wanted it to be, nice ties and everything, and I always wanted to go somewhere dressed up and do something different, not pull up in a Lamborghini or Mercedes. I wanted to be different, and I fucking did it. And we were
Yeah.
both dressed up, and I pulled up right in the front of Mastro's like I was worth $1 million. Got out, walked in, and when I left the same way I came. I'm like, wait, did that just really just happen? I mean, we was fully dressed up.
We were fully dressed up. We
So
had valet. The valet guy said, "Hey, I think you got. I think that you need to get her a stain or something." Because they helped me get into the truck.
yeah, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that. But and getting back to what I was saying in terms of women and um what they may be looking for, like give them an idea of what it felt like for you even up to this point now of what you feeling, like just so they can know that it's still available. I mean, even past the hurts, even past the mistakes and all that, it's still available.
I think the best advice that I can give is just to be patient, and it feels good. With something, anything that you are dealing with should always feel good. Whether that's a relationship, or a new job, or relocating, something that's good for you, that is meant for you, it feels good, and everything in you is going to scream yes. If you having something that's saying, I'm not too sure, like everything is all good, or I like him, but that's not your person. That's not
Right.
your person. Everything is going to feel good. You're not going to have no second thoughts, or you're not going to be unsure. It's going to be like a yes, yes, yes. It's not going to. You're not going to have any reservations about it. So just be patient, and it should feel like a effortless effort.
Mm,
It should Relationship shouldn't feel like work
mm.
or a chore.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, cause to see Hood do it again, after what he went through with his ex, and his ex, she's still family. I still consider her my sister. And then the same with T Man, most recent because they're the most two recent who recently got remarried. But it just, it solidified the fact that, I shouldn't necessarily give up on marriage just because it didn't work the first time. So I think even through everything that we've been through collectively thus far, and then seeing them go through what they went through, it's just like I don't have to have that fear of it's not gonna happen again. Because people ask me all the time. I mean, whether it's just in general conversation or in real conversation. Because one of my sister's friends, Tanya, I've known Tanya for a long amount of time because Tanya is best friends with Tony Man's cousin Tracy. So she's known me for some years too. So it's funny how my sister and them hooked up with her, but that's neither here nor there. But she was just like, "You really like this girl?" I said, "Why you say that?" She was like, "Cause you still talking about her. You going to Florida? You like her?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So it just seemed like when you do stuff, people can tell. Like I mean, for example, we just gonna put it out there. For example, recently, I wanted to put up a post just to share my sentiment for you and us knowing each other and the openness of allowing me to just be open and just be myself. Like I'm me. I'm not perfect, but I'm me. And you you love it for what it is, and I'm not gonna ever question that, right? But for me to post something as sentimental as that, a lot of people look at that like, okay, that was the confirmation for them. Whether they was inboxing me, whether they was seeing it from afar and questioning it or whatever. For me to do that, it solidified it for everybody. Because I normally don't do that. That's not me. That's not my. I post
Right.
a lot on Facebook. I do. I post a lot on Facebook, but I don't post like that. And so for people to see that when I see him, or if I talk to him on the phone, like my man Doug, the day the day you posted something for me, you was doing, I think it was like encouragement, what he do for the community in the group. And Doug hit me and was like, "Oh, I see what's going on." I said, "What's going on?" He was like, "Yeah, she making everybody know. Yeah, yeah, she giving you encouragement, but she letting everybody else know, like, yeah, be easy." I'm like, "Oh, all right, all right." And then for me to turn around and do the same, the first thing he texted me back, he was like, "Man, I love it." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Man, it's nothing wrong with that, man. Showing your peoples that you, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to do it out of the kindness of my heart." He was like, "That's what's up." So there's a lot of cheerleaders out there, cause a lot of people know what I've been through. I mean, not saying that I put my business out there, but those who comfortable with, and those that I don't mind sharing some of my story with, they know what I've been through. I mean, Doug, I've been knowing Doug all damn near 30 30 plus years. Doug grew up right across the street from me. You know what I'm saying? So Doug is not like one of the guys in my core group of people. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't treat Doug any less because I've known him for so long. If that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
he's cool with Tonio. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't change that dynamic at all. But just for him to reach out to me the way he does, text messaging, just peeping shit. I'm like, if he peeping that, then it's a lot of people who peeped it, and it's okay. And I think at this point, it's just like I don't think really anything's going to change. I think that we'll keep doing what we've been doing, and like I told you before, I think we will probably be one of these people where we might start getting getting people and gathering advice for people, like just not advice, but just like, how did you do this? How did you do that? Because I mean, I get it all the time. Like I got into a real deep conversation with one of the group members because she was dating somebody. She's dating somebody that's in Pennsylvania, and she was kind of asking me, how I was dealing with the distance, and and we kind of had a conversation about it. She was like, "Oh, okay." And so even when I made the post, she was one of the people who reached out to me as well. She was like, "That is so beautiful, Kevin. I'm so happy for y'all." So it's just like you get congratulated from these people who just recently met you on your platform, but then they still congratulate you outside of the foolishness, because the group can go left sometimes. The group can go way left
Yeah.
some days, and we be so far gone, but then it can reel itself back in just off one post, and then everybody dials in and has an adult discussion about it. So I think just even that in itself is not like this drama. It's not like 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 one day, I don't know, I was just sitting and thinking, I was like, "Boo, we haven't had like, I mean, we might have not necessarily agreed on something specifically, but we haven't had like a shouting match, an argument, like
No.
none of that. Like I
I
think
think.
I think the
Well.
one time you said you was mad at me was because I was walking in front of you because your feet so.
Oh yeah. Like, please stop walking so fast. I be feeling like I'm one back there, and you like all the way ahead of
Hmm.
me. And
I've slowed
but
down. I've
at
slowed
one time,
down.
but
I've
that's what I was gonna say. I said it one time, and that was it. You
I've
stopped.
I've slowed down.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I used to be back there looking like the Flintstones trying to pitter paddle behind you.
Hmm.
But like I said it one time, and that was it. And you stopped. So that's if we just. I think because we're so like-minded that it comes easy in our decision making. Like a lot of times, we're already thinking the same thing,
Yeah.
and then it comes out that we both was thinking the same thing
Yeah.
when we talk about it.
Hmm.
One of us say it before the other, like, damn, I was just
I was
thinking the
just
same.
thinking that. Hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, again, it just seemed like it was supposed to happen. I don't second guess it at all. I've never second guessed it. I mean, even when I told you, even when I came down and I saw Nate, it wasn't like it was um, like it was uncomfortable. It was like, "Oh, this my man. What's up, Slim? What's going on?" So it felt good on all fronts. I mean, especially when I was talking about getting the job, and you was like, "Your mother prayed for me." I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, she said she prayed for you to get the job." I was like, "Oh, oh, okay." So and not to be getting too spiritual and stuff like that, but when people are doing that for you, they think highly of you to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
They,
I know people say you're supposed to pray for everybody, but I look at it like if somebody else is praying for me, they felt a certain type of way for me to pray for me, whether it was good or bad. So, you know,
because we're praying for your protection, and
mm,
then we're also praying for your blessings.
right,
So that means that that person wants nothing but the best for you,
right.
and they want to see you, doing well.
Well, I'm glad we could do this. I thought it would be a good idea to kind of just, briefly give people how this happened, because
Story.
even when we went to the wedding, even when we went to Tony Man's wedding, and we saw Nelson and we saw Tonio and we saw Cool Papa, they was all looking at me like, I remember her, but Baloo, right? I'm like, yeah. I mean, of course, certain people knew you off the break just cause, but then Cool, he was like, I don't really remember her, and I mean that's possible because Baloo was so big, but I mean now that they kind of know who you are, they like, oh, okay. I mean, because I had a conversation once, and this is gonna be I'm gonna end off this because I know I'm gonna get cussed out. But I had a conversation with a homie a long time ago, and I said, man, I don't want no chick from Southeast, man. Chicks from Southeast too aggressive. They this, they that, man. I ain't fuck that shit. And now, 20 plus years later, I'm in love with a chick from Southeast. That's crazy. It's crazy, man. I mean, I can't make this shit up, man. It's crazy. So that's why I say a lot of stuff that has happened thus far, it doesn't seem too far fetched because it's happening. So it doesn't make me feel like it can't happen for other people. I mean, we got people on the admin team that, been through some stuff and they found, love again and trying to, get some stuff back together. So it's not like it's not possible or it's not happening. It's just not happening for everybody at the time that I think they wanted to happen. Like I hear people, oh, I don't want to get married, or I don't want to be in a relationship. I think you lying, but if that's what you feel, then that's fine. But I wanted us to be, kind of share this to let people know it can happen. Like, and it happened for us, and we didn't even see it really coming. Like that. Like because we didn't. Like I say, I don't think we really got into a lot of them heavy conversations about being with each other. Like it was just, some
We
days it was laughter, some days it was heaviness because we was talking about something. I mean, it was just a multitude of
it was
things. So
conversation.
yeah,
It was just straight, just conversations, and then I think that we like talking to each other. That we started it to be a everyday thing.
right,
It, like, and then it just became more and more. Then then that's when it kind of like turned into like flirting and
the flirting
getting
was
to
mean. The flirting at one point got mean. Like, all right, look, we need to catch a flight, man. All this, keep talking like this, man. Like, this some bullshit. We need to, man. Yeah. So
so everything happened slow, which was
yeah,
the best
yeah.
part about it, is that we didn't rush at all, at all.
I would have to agree, and I think that's the. I think for me that's the best part of it. So I
Yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
best
we
part of
took
it.
our time and got to know each other first, then became acquainted, then got comfortable, then got a little sexy with it,
Yeah,
and we got physical with it,
yeah,
and now we stuck with each other.
yeah. It's yeah, yeah, and I just want others to know that it can happen for them. You can have that peace of mind that we spoke about. I mean, because that's golden. But you can also have that just knowing that you have that person, just however you may need them, like without even asking. Like I mean we already like an old couple. Like you be like, I could be in the kitchen cooking and you just come by and smack my butt. I'd be like, Joe, that's just, I mean, it's what it is. I mean, it's what we do.
Right. Yeah,
Grocery store, it don't matter. You like, boo, we in the grocery store. I'm like, all right.
he loves the grocery store, y'all. That is his
Oh
playground.
my God. So I mean, I just want people to know it can
But
happen. I just want
we
folks
pull
to
up,
know it can
talk
happen.
about it. We have to have a conversation like when we get in here. This is the budget.
I
Because he
no,
can.
I think that one time that happened, I was just excited because it was so nice of a store. I was like, they fucking have everything. The fruit look good, the meat look good. 20 seconds. They got wine selection. They got bid. Like this is like crazy. Like you go to the grocery store and you can get all your essentials. I mean, it was bananas. But we gonna pipe it down. It was just a I was happy. It was a happy moment for me. But I'm glad we had the opportunity to share because I think people have been, just wondering, not like inquiring minds, but just wondering. And then like I say, some people had already pieced it together. Some people had already been like thinking but didn't know. So that's why I say when the post came out, I didn't look at it today, but I think when I looked at it the other day, it was up to like 690 comments. I was like, whoa. So I
Yeah,
was
I
like, oh,
think that
okay.
our story is definitely a story of inspiration because I've had shared our story a couple of times with people that's not even in the group, but with young people, and they be like, "Oh, I want it to be just like that. I want it to happen for me, just like the way it happened for you." And especially for young people, because young people think that everything is supposed to be so fast.
Right. The microwave
Every,
society.
the microwave society that they are already having a baby with somebody that they've only known for a month.
Right.
So when I've been able to talk about us to some young people, and it just seemed like, oh my God, that can happen. Yes, it can happen.
Yeah.
I'm it's just like that. You know what? I'm gonna slow down. I'm talking to this guy right now. I'm about to tell him that we about to slow down.
Mm. Man.
So yeah,
A-
it's a good.
anything you wanna say before we go though? I mean, anything you wanna say to the members of the group?
Um, yes, just let things happen organically. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your person you're talking to at the moment, and let it go. Let it see where it flows by itself, because it may flow in a direction that you was not even expecting, and that could be a good or bad thing.
Right.
Some it could be it does flow to the point where you don't really see a future with this person,
Right.
and you may need to say, okay, I think I want to, you know, step back from this because this may not be the direction that's for me,
Right.
or it could be that this is the person for me.
Right.
So when you take your time and you don't put too much stock in something too fast, it's easier to get out of it than it would be if you had already just say, y'all already living together, and then you
But it might happen fast though, and if it does naturally, then that's okay too.
and it yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't want nobody to think that just because it happens fast that it's not good. If it happens fast and it's natural, then that's okay too. As long as it's natural. I just
As
don't
long
want it to be forced.
exactly,
Yeah.
as long as it's not forced and it's natural, just let that water just flow where it's going to flow, and that's
Yeah.
all I got to say.
Yeah. I think for the most part, just again, just reiterate, just the vibe. Catching that vibe and it being the right one for you. You being able to be yourself, you being able to communicate how you do, you being able to be open, you being able to unload that baggage, in a proper form, and just you know like I say, just it just feeling right. It just feeling
Hmm.
right. And so I think me and Ant, we gonna get together sometime this week and kind of talk about it from a man's perspective, the romance and the relationship part, and just kind of get into it because we didn't get a chance to get into it the last time we spoke, but we will in a couple days. so so yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it. I don't know what else you gotta do today. I don't really have that
Well,
much.
it's football. What is it? Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, but I got Gianna here, so she ain't into football, so I'm gonna have to try to
Well,
entertain
you
her
know,
until the game come on. I mean, she'll probably watch it with me, but it won't be something that she's big on. So it is
I'm
what
not,
it
but it's the food. I'm the top. I do the food. So this is a big day, so that means it's about to be a
is. But
big
it's about to be on.
down in the kitchen today. So
All right. Well, again,
that's
I appreciate you, just taking the time, sharing this. As always, I love you. So I thank you
love
for
you.
doing this. Appreciate it.